Hello, everybody. I'm Mark.
I am Ellie.
And this is episode 73 of
The
Shot
Pod 73, man. Very fruity.
Yeah.
First
All
half
right.
hour, I have to behave.
Yep.
So we'll start with saying, I'll show it to the camera. This rainbow twist, Palm Bay, and what I said when we got them, which was, by the way, thank you, Tamara, for picking those up. They hid them like Easter eggs around the LCBO, apparently. Very tasty. So much
It's like
sugar.
white freezy.
Oh, it tastes like diabetes. I said, who needs Bud Light? We got these rainbow twist Palm Bays.
Yeah. Right?
I just got to get this out of the way. So the Palm Bay, or not the Palm Bay thing, the Bud Light thing. So many funny things to talk about. Number one, what a fantastic distraction from the rest of what's happening in the world with like the TD banks collapsing and the Ukraine and all these documents being released from the government. So let's be real. Putting a trans person on a can of a redneck beer that people like Kid Rock and Trump drink was just like, how do we get the rednecks distracted from how all these documents are getting released and the TD Bank is literally going bankrupt? They're $47 billion under. It's done.
There are people that are wondering if it's a psyop.
Like, it's crazy. Oh, it's just funny.
Yeah.
So it's like so obvious. So why do you care? So if you're whether you're boycotting the Bud Light thing, which most people are doing wrong, because if you look at the list of stuff that company owns, it's like basically stop drinking beer. You're a wino now. Go to Tamara's wine shop and buy some wine because you can't drink any more beer because Bud Light or that company owns freaking everything,
Including Bush.
Like, give it up. Rolling Rock, like I saw the list, bro. Like, it's over.
It's a huge
Everything's owned by 7 companies. So even at the end of the day, even if you're like, I found one, I bet you through the grapevine that money's all going to the same place. So give it up. So protesting it is stupid, but it's fun to watch people try. Because I mean, I should technically, considering my who I am and everything, I should be one of those guys going, I don't want that shit on my beer and all that. But like, to me, I'm just laughing. I'm like, good try. Like, because I'm online going, I'm just saying this is a distraction. And then I post TD Bank going bankrupt and the CIA documents. I post those links on these forums specifically for the Bud Light. Yeah. And that's how I'm going to treat it on the show too. It's a perfect distraction. We're going to spend zero time getting into who the representative is, who's on the can, any of that crap. None of it matters. And we're spend that much time on it because it's just to make it's so that you'll talk about that instead of the things that we're going to get to on the show that are actually important.
Yeah.
So let's just get that one out of the way. But man, was it fun to see all that online. Like, it's really fun to see the bones they'll throw at the hungry wolves online now. Get them talking. Make them hate each other. This is called situational divide. God, people are stupid. I almost swore there, but I caught myself. I'm doing good. Episode 73 is off to a good
Better
start.
than last time. So when I do post that video and
It'll be
a bunch
funny.
of blank spaces,
It's gonna be great.
Like, what is that? Oh, it's all the editing.
It's going to be great. I'm actually curious. It'll be good to hear an edited one. Oh, this is what it would sound like if, This episode will be a better one, though, for sure. But yeah, 73. We've hit so many amazing topics. We got a lot to talk about this week.
Lots.
I want to get better at using all of our. We got some sound effects that I got to get better at. So we got to talk about something sad, so I can trigger that one. And also, is this the '80s disco show? Welcome back to the Shot Pod. It's 1989. I just never do that enough times, and now feel not have fun.
Well,
with it.
I am going to make this one announcement. I told you something a while ago about podcast plans that I was going to get my other one going that I'd started. And I'm going to do it in May. So in May, the Shot Pod will be 3 times a month, and the Guy Side will be 1.
Nice. Guy's Side. We did a Guy's Side episode together. I think it was episode 4.
Yeah, one of them.
It was early. It was one of the first ones. We should do another one. I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I wanted to run it by you. So why not do it on air? When we first started, and we didn't have... Well, I think when we first started, we were feeling out the news, talking about news and bombard. And let's be honest. I mean, we started this thing a year and a half ago. Yeah. So it was I guess less news. There was like a week could go by and it would be like, well, there's not a heck of a lot to talk about. So why don't we talk about, a movie or focus on something? We had a whole Star Wars and The Office episode because Star Wars was my favorite thing and Office is yours. So we split the episode in half and just dived into why there's such great lores. And we did another episode on relationships, but the whole episode talking about girls and the struggle to deal with them. It was that was our guy's side kind of thing where it was just like, this is, it is hard to deal with men. We are human garbage incarnate, and it takes every single a piece of strength as a dude to tell that little voice in your head that's like, treat everybody like garbage and bang everything that walks and just be just rape and pillage. You know what I mean? And to turn it off and be a quality dude. So we get that, but my God, if you think it's any better on our end, it's might be worse. We don't know. But either way, it's just fun to talk about that and to, guys, it's nice, talk about, guys don't really get into the emotional talk stuff, you know what I mean? Because we're supposed to say, oh, look at me, I'm tough, I don't have feelings. So I love that. And that's what the guy side is.
So the guys,
check it out.
The guy side has a lot more research that goes into it. All the topics that I discuss, I will be discussing with Jared. Jared will be the co-host of a monthly thing. And yes, we will have the co-host of the Shot Pod on there. Appearing every once in a while, but it was always directed by research and data, and we would discuss. I would state my opinion on it, and so I would go into personal experiences, things that I've been through. I'm 40 years old. I've been through a lot, like a lot.
Well, and that's one of the things that we try to do on the show, like when we're getting into some of the stuff is related to personal stuff.
Yeah,
I think if you want to know more about who Mark and his 40-year-old ass self is I would definitely listen to the first 10 episodes of Shot Pod. There's a lot of the Mark story.
They're half-hour long episodes, and but there's so many different things. There's obviously battling for your child, access to your child.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
As well as alpha male syndrome. I talk about that and go in with some research about that. Even anger issues based around testosterone and sometimes people.
What are you talking about, Mark? Yeah. I have no idea. Men are fine. Yeah. Damn it.
And but even knowing somebody specifically who will get so angry that all he sees is black and then he doesn't recall.
Yeah,
that's
happened. Scary stuff.
Yeah.
Those are not the guys you want to fight with. You know? I've always said that. It's like, I don't care how big and tough you are, man. You get one of those, I've seen very small dudes that just go into they just see red and it's just you better run, man.
Yeah.
Anyway. That's
all little kids with the pumped up kicks. You better run faster than a bullet. Anyways.
I like how I got that low harmony at the end there. That's good. Now we gotta start cutting tracks. Speaking of cutting tracks, me and Mark are deep. I don't think that's inappropriate.
That is inappropriate.
How can it be? But dodgeballs.
The phrase itself. Yeah, dodgeballs deep. There you go.
in
the mesh bag.
Into getting into I told you Mark is in the process right now of picking a list of older songs of his that he wants to do re-recordings of and redo, kind of add parts to and maybe restructure and things, and write probably 3 or 4 new brand spanking new things with riffs that he's got put away and small demo projects.
Accompanied by Alex.
And he definitely wants me to get in on it, so he's been getting me involved with just listening and kind of trying to write some stuff. But in that process, he's helping me get my solo stuff, which is very proggy and very unorthodox and not the things a lot of people want to hear. This is very busy. But it's kind of Liquid Tension experiment, with John Petrucci's solo stuff. And I do what my goal with this project is to get vocals on that and to stop focusing on the lead stuff and to get us singing going. Maybe myself, maybe you. We're going to see how I want to get the instrumental stuff down, and then then it'll be what does this call for, I think a lot of my stuff would sound great with a Iron Maiden type singer, and I don't really know anybody that could do that. But maybe once it's cut and the tracks are dry, we can go, this would be a Soundgarden vocal would sound good, or maybe Mark could. That's the thing about Mark. He can rap, he can yell punk rock, he can Nirvana, as I call it, which is just the raspy Creed kind of thing, but without that cliche feel, with the kind of an actual emotion to it. But he can also sing a little bitch. He can sing please don't run away. All that. Please don't run away is the song that's on our YouTube page, by the way. But yeah, it's one of my favorite slower ones. So I feel like, and I have a lot of diversity. I have acoustic sections, and then it'll go into a speed metal part. So I really think I might be using up your voice on my stuff. So we're knee deep in involving each other in our own stuff, but keeping it separate because it is our babies.
Yeah.
And I think that in doing this, there'll be collab at the end of it. I think at the end of it, we'll be sitting down and writing stuff together, and it's just exciting to talk about how it's going to happen.
Ever since the Falling in Reverse concert, I was just like, man, I want to put together a set list and I want to play a show. And I always get that every so often I get an itch. And every person that has ever come into my life that plays an instrument, I end up playing a show with them.
And I'll be honest.
And I haven't yet with Alex.
I just wish and think we should clone. If we could clone one of each of us, number one, our girlfriends would be in their glory. But we ourselves would have like we can play anything. We can both play bass, guitar, drums, and how are you with piano?
The basics. I can figure.
I basically slow it down and I make it kind of like I'll do like I'll just do the left hand part. You know, da 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 da. Like I'll do the left hand and right hand separate on. But I mean, if you know how to use a SH0T pedal, I think that's how you say that. So I call it a sus pedal, which people
the sustain pedal.
Yeah, but it's got a weird Italian name. That's its real name. We call it sustain, but it's not actually called that. Yeah, right.
This pedal.
This pedal right here. We'll get to our Italian talk soon. It's me. It's the sus pedal. Anyways, we're gonna get there. But like, we can all play that, and we can both sing. I would say Mark is a far better singer than me. But I mean, if you got us both together, it would be, I could probably, any backup he had, I could probably fill in with. And I think anything I could write, he could definitely fill in with. So if we could just clone ourselves, we'd have a hell of a 4-piece, man. We'd have one hell of a 4-piece. So what are we going to do about this? Like, that's what I was saying for the show we just programmed. We just run clicks, and either one of us plays drums. I think it would be kind of silly to have one of us play drums. I know we could both play the drums, but I say we just scrap them. They're always too loud anyway. We run programmed drums and clicks, and then we play live instruments and sing together. I don't know. I think it would be killer. Get a piano on stage, and we'll jam a little bit with that, use it to actuate stuff, and then one of us can hit bass, one of us play guitar. I just think it would be so much fun. I think it would be killer stuff. Play a couple of yours, play a couple of mine, do some collab stuff. You got to watch out. The Shot Pod show is going to blow your mind, and it's coming. But anyways, we're just excited about that stuff, so I like talking about it. If you and
we've actually talked a while ago about Shot Pod kind of not so much headlining, but like hosting a show.
Yeah.
Like on the side, we're podcasting, and then, you know, we bring up the band, and the band plays, and then...
Yeah, Simcoe Jazz and Blues would be a place I think I might be able to pull it off. I mean, I used to pull it off in Whitby, too. Pearson's open to that kind of stuff. I don't know. We have to talk.
But, I mean, while the bands are setting up and tearing down, you know,
we're up there doing our thing. Yeah, we're doing our thing.
Cool.
Either like a live podcast where we were like there with mics, either maybe side stage or in a booth or something, and immediately as soon as they're done, or even just have us both go up with mics and just banter in between while the bands are doing their thing.
We definitely need to get like Jason Bateman though, like from Dodgeball, like him as a commentator. He was hilarious.
That would have been.
Isn't that right, Colin?
I gotta go back and watch those old Vince Vaughn movies, man. But that's really cool stuff. But should we get into like the? You saw it. Do you want to start with Super Mario because you saw it?
Okay, sure.
Should we hit it up?
Sure.
So Super Mario started or dropped April, I don't remember, 7th or 4th or something?
5th.
It was on the 5th. And you saw it and you said it was it's just amazing.
Watch that language, but yes.
It was awesome.
There's enough to bleep out already.
Now, you'll never, ever convince me that it's going to be better than Sonic. I haven't seen it yet, but I think what Sonic's done with their universe building and making this transition, they're one of the only franchises to jump from video games into being successful. I mean, Assassin's Creed tried it. Mario already tried it in the 90s and failed colossally. I'll remind everyone of that. I think Donkey Kong was going to be a movie at one point, and then that fell apart. Like they've tried a lot of stuff. Resident Evil went to the screen, and they completely changed everything. It kind of went off on its own. So it was nice to see Sonic. They Paramount really gave the gamers what they wanted. You know, the intro scene and the cut scenes and the endings, like references to game material and following a game story pretty close. You know, I loved what they did. They really paid the Sonic fans tribute and did them justice, and then they also did a fantastic job of roping in a new generation of young kids that are probably all out there right now going, Mario was better! better until Sonic 3 comes out, and then they'll all be going, Sonic was better, because don't forget, children are malleable pieces of silly putty in your hands. Okay, so don't feed me this BS. Anyways, all I'm saying is that tell me about how great the Mario movie is.
Okay, so first off, Mario opening day made $66.4 million. 34.7 of that was international. Now, Sonic opened internationally first, then domestically after. So domestically, Mario made 31.7 on its first day because its opening weekend, it opened everywhere. Internationally, it actually broke some world records. Best opening day for an animated film in Spain and UK. Universal's best opening day of all time in Mexico and Germany. The biggest.
Any countries that people care about?
Hang on a second. The biggest opening day for Illumination in Taiwan and Australia, and it became the highest grossing animated film in China since the COVID pandemic began in 2020. And for the weekend, it made over $204 million domestically, $377.2 million globally.
Wow, man. On opening weekend, like, it's going to hit $1 billion pretty fast.
Probably.
And I don't think Sonic hit $1 billion on any of them.
No, Sonic's opening weekend internationally was $43 million and $57 million domestically. Sonic 2 was $71 domestically. Internationally, it was $21.6 million. So Mario beat out both films domestically and
Keep in mind, too, Sonic came out during COVID.
Domestic numbers.
COVID is over, so all the movies this year are gonna beat movies from 2020, 2021, and 2022.
So
don't forget that.
So, but what else does this tell us? Aside from setting the record for biggest animation film ever, beating out Frozen 2, Disney has been releasing flop after flip-flop after flop, pushing their agenda in films and their excuse. No one wants to go out to the movies anyways. They'd rather wait until movies hit streaming services than watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Puss in Boots, the sequel, proved that wrong, and now Super Mario Brothers.
Yep.
And
I love that. I love that Mario's that they're like, no, if you just give them what they want. I like that. That's one thing Nintendo's. Well, who made this? It's not really Nintendo.
It was Nintendo in association. Well, it was Illumination in association with Nintendo.
What's the big studio?
Illumination. The people that made Despicable Me and Minions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know much about that.
Yeah.
Who owns them? I know. Say they're on their own. They got it. It's got to be Fox, or it's got to be Comcast.
That I'm not sure of.
Who? Somebody. Okay, I'd love to know.
All their intros in the beginning show Minions, so I mean, it could be there.
I'll look into it. I'll look into it. But either way, it's something outside of Disney, right? Because Disney says this is what it is, and everyone's like, it must be what it is, because they have the MCU, they have Star Wars, they have National Geographic, they have so many of the things that you know and love.
Yeah.
So this is one of the very few things that we know and love that they don't have. Now, the other thing too is that the only thing outside of Disney-owned proprieties are DC. DC is kind of the only other thing, which is Warner Brothers, and they're also colossally failing and going, people don't want to see this, and people don't want that, and we're like, yeah, we do. You just suck. So this is nice validation that you're giving people what they want, like they did with Sonic. I'm sorry, if you took Sonic and I took it out of the pandemic, man, I'm kind of pissed. I can't wait for Sonic 3 because it might get the redemption and see numbers like this that I think it should have got if people weren't like, stay home, stay safe. No one's saying that now. So, of course, I almost, give Mario credit for waiting. Probably smart. But, I mean, they would have had to can the whole project, I think, with Sonic at that point. But it's nice to see. Also, like you said, this is also showing that people do want to leave the house again.
Yeah.
I feel like people are scared to go out again, and this is saying, no, we're not. So I love that.
So to those that have an issue with it just because Chris Pratt is a controversial actor, and by that I mean because
a poor actor,
because of his religion. No. So I in my notes here I have, now Alex will say he's not a good actor and then claim Jon Favreau is a good actor, showing he doesn't have a leg to stand on. However, the controversy,
Jon Favreau's just a funny sidekick actor.
Yeah, the controversy with Pratt is mainly his religion, because he's
what's going on with
when
that?
it comes to the religion and him saying like a man and woman should have like a union for a family and all that, it doesn't match the narrative. So that's made him a controversial figure.
Okay,
which is stupid.
I haven't even heard about this.
It's been in the news, and Robert Downey Jr. Actually made a statement to the press saying like, no, Chris Pratt's a lovely human being. Like, he's a
calm
good guy.
down.
Yeah, exactly.
Calm down, guys.
Yeah.
They're so quick to start burning witches. She's a witch! Burn him! Oh, wait a minute. He was just a dude.
Yeah. So because people don't like him, they're trying to cut up the Mario movie, and they're failing. Not a single video game movie has ever made me want to play a game. It was based on more than Super Mario Brothers. And Jared said the same thing too. Like, he saw it, and after it was done, he's like, well, now I want to play the game. And like, I was like, man, I want to play Mario
When
Kart.
Sonic 2 finished and they had all those things at the end for the credits where they were running through levels that they pulled out of the games to do scenes from, that's why. Why do you think Origins sold so well? Like, it was genius. So I bet you Mario will put out some greatest hits package and it'll sell trillions soon.
And because of the different niches they have, Alex and I spoke about this on another episode, like from RPG to Mario Party, Mario 64, every different niche they touched on is a potential sequel. But after watching that movie, my oldest said to me he wanted to see Mario go missing in a sequel and have Luigi go looking for him in a ghostly mansion, basically making Luigi's Mansion the sequel. Yeah. That'd be amazing.
And there's 3 Luigi's Mansion games or Mario's Missing games.
Yeah. And I mean, it would be amazing. Charlie Day as Luigi was just amazing.
He was killing it.
Yeah. Chris Pratt as Mario, again, amazing. I couldn't picture another actor doing the actual voice. Now, when you see it, you remember that plumber commercial?
Yeah.
So that was a trailer, but in the movie when they play the commercial, there's more to it, and he puts on like this fake Italian accent, and like he's like, "It's me, I'm Mario," and he's like, it sounds dead on. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then afterwards, he takes off the voice and he's asking his family like, "Hey, what'd you think about my commercial?" And his entire family's like, "Don't quit your day job," and it just crushes him.
Wow.
And it's crazy. It's crazy. Luigi backs him up, but then Mario goes off on his own. It's just like, man, like, because his family tells Mario that, Mario, you're bringing your brother down with you. And then afterwards, Luigi's like, "You're not bringing me down. I'm with you in this. We're together. We are the Super Mario Brothers plumbers." And so like the story is just so good. So there are so many. So the one thing Jared was saying that he felt about it was that it was rushed, which it felt kind of rushed.
Well, it's 2 hours.
It's less than. It's like
see, that's the thing. It's not look even just in the preview. Like, there was a crazy amount of story to cram into that. I mean, you can't keep a kid's attention for more than.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are so many worlds that Mario could warp to, but instead it just showed the Dark Zone, which is the creepy forest, the Mushroom Kingdom, and then the real world, still CGI, but just not a world in the video games. So I get they didn't play all their cards at once, which is great, leaving it open for sequels.
They need to do sequels. Yeah. I mean, if Sonic's getting 3 movies, Mario should get 3 movies. Like, I'm never going to say that I think that Mario is better. But I definitely would love to see a proper trilogy of this. And I mean, and that'd be sick if the second one took it in like a different. Seems like the directions could be endless. Yeah, and good money and that kind of money, it'll happen.
Yeah, I was saying to Jared, I'm like, they could make like a Saw version of Mario if they just made Mario Party. Like, he's forced to participate in a game where he beats all his friends.
That's whole movie. I don't know, but they could definitely. I mean, that's funny. They could do a TV series. They could easily make a successful 10-episode TV series where they do explore that kind of stuff, and then that could lead into a movie like they do with Batman. They could do a Penguin show to kind of build up the next one, which apparently we'll have to talk about. Clayface is the bad guy. Yeah. We got to keep our talk about that script. That script that we had. We got to keep our mouth. We got to write that with the doors closed.
Wait, somebody was listening?
Is this thing on?
I watched a YouTuber complain about the cat suit that Mario has, saying, is this some type of furry fetish? And then going...
The raccoon suit?
No. It was specifically the cat suit. The cat suit is in Super Mario 3D World.
Oh, okay.
So asking, is it a furry fetish? And then saying, well, I guess like Asians do have a thing for cats. And it was like, what the fuck? Like, this person's just trying to find a way to cut it up. And it's like, no, it's in many games. So critics are hating it probably because of Pratt, as mentioned before. Go see the movie yourself. On Rotten Tomatoes, critics have it rated at 56%.
Wow.
But audience ratings have it at 96%.
Yeah.
So
this is pretty funny, man.
So Anya Taylor-Joy, she identifies as a white Latina woman. Her father is Argentine and Scottish origins, and her mother is English and Spanish. Well, John Leguizamo came out to comment on this movie, and so like I think he's just
he was in the first Mario movie.
Yeah, I think
failed.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to stay relevant because like he's not really relevant anymore.
I guess. I don't know. He's made a lot of money back in the day.
Yeah.
Does he need to be relevant? He's like Brad Pitt of the 90s. Him and Brad made a lot of money.
I know, but the fact that he's still trying stuff, like if you look up his career now for anything that he's in.
He's just in John Wick. He's like a secondary character in John Wick. That's like all he's really doing.
Yeah. Yeah,
he had a TV
everything else is I'd probably say a B quality movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyways, he's come out to say that he's boycotting the movie because there's no Latino actors in this movie. And so it's like, well, you know, Anya Taylor-Joy identifies as a white Latina because her mother's Spanish and her dad is Argentinian.
Two 50% Spanish parents make you 50% Spanish. I'm not sure if y'all pass math. Like it's fractions aren't that hard to add when the denominator is the same.
Yeah, critics are hating on nostalgia, and yes, there are nostalgic moments in there. There's a moment.
How do you think Sonic made a penny? Like really? How? I'm sorry, I just choked on the palm. I choked on my rainbow. I'm so peed off. Wow. That's insane. Like, God. Like, if anyone wants to SH0T on the Mario movie, it's me. Okay?
Yeah.
But even I'm like, dude, give it, like, I love that it's like, oh, nobody wants to go see a movie anymore. Nobody wants to do this. And Chris Pratt's a right-wing psychopath and piece of crap and Christianity's dead. You can't say that men and women should get married. What's wrong with you? What? It made $70 trillion? Oops. You know, like, I love that. I love it. I kind of feel like this, you know, I just kind of feel like movies that aren't Warner or Disney, they're important. They are freaking important. They're more important now than they ever have been.
Yeah.
And I will count the new Sonic movie in that because it's Paramount, which isn't really owned by Paramount's its own thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's still multi-conglomerate, but I mean they're not. I haven't seen any. If they make Sonic black, I'll be, oh my God, Shadow's black. They did it. They actually did it if I think about it logically.
Yeah.
No, but you know what I mean? Like if they start doing ridiculous stuff like Warner and them are doing just to make people happy. Yeah. Also, if all the cast members of Sonic and Mario start becoming rapists or having like what's his name? The guy that's like what Ezra, like all the cast members of Batman that we fell in love with just turn into bad people. Like I hope none of that happens to our franchises that are proving everyone wrong, that you can do it right. You can hire quality actors, get quality people to write a script that isn't pushing an agenda, that banks on nostalgia and writes good stories that you and your kids will like.
Yeah. So you I don't know if it was last episode or the episode before when we were talking about Mario, you mentioned that Mario, the original name for him was Jumpman.
Yes, from the Donkey Kong game.
Yeah, in the Donkey Kong.
Did they talk about it?
So,
because I know there's a scene in an arena where him and Donkey Kong have to square off like they did.
When he's in the real world and Bowser beats the piss out of Mario, he gets thrown into a restaurant and he's just kind of sitting down behind a bench thinking like, I can't do this. And he's like, I kind of give up. Right beside him is an arcade and you see the edge of it and it says Jumpman.
Oh, so there are. I gotta go see this because I'm gonna go. I do know a lot about Mario. Like I'll be honest. You know when I geek out about Sonic and the algorithm and Yuji Naka, and I think I've talked. I won't get into it tonight because we're gonna talk about some other things. But I know a lot about how they built the games. When they made Sonic 2 and Sonic City, it was Sega splitting off into America and Japan. There's a very complicated story to the politics of how the rise and fall of Sega, how they marketed, the guerrilla marketing, you know, how they got away with some of the stuff they did, how they said it was a blast processor. Did it do anything different than SNES? Or did they just have a fancy word? Like, there's a lot to it. And then there's the people that programmed and jump ship and program stuff. Mario has just as lush of a history with how they started as a trading card company, and then there was they were there. Sega wasn't there at the fall of the hardware of the late 80s when Atari had that E.T. giant failure when all hell broke loose and the video game market crashed. Sega avoided that. They had the Master System in Japan, but they weren't international at that point. It was because of that they found those markets in Europe and Canada and North America that they could kind of jump on that. So Nintendo's story of how they started with he originally had no name. And you know what I mean? At all. He was just a character that they had, and they kind of called him that when they ported it, when they were going to send it over here. So the story of how they brought all that together. Did you know that Kirby is named after the lawyer that won the lawsuit because of that machine? Okay, quick story. I won't talk too long. So that machine, they were trying to figure out what to name Donkey Kong because they didn't want to call him Gorilla Man because that was his name. Jumpman and Gorilla Man. It was stupid. They were like, I can't do this. So they just went in a thesaurus and they saw gorilla, another word that meant that was donkey, and then something Kong was another, something else. So anyways, they got sued by Universal Pictures, I believe, or somebody for the guys who were making King Kong. And they had a lawyer whose name was something Kirby. His last name was Kirby, and he was just like a small time, not really a big time dude. And he worked for the Nintendo offices in America. So in order to release Donkey Kong here, it would never have been a success. And we wouldn't even be having this conversation if he'd lost this case, because they got sued by this company and he quoted them against themselves. And he won a case. And it was a very big deal that this multi-million-dollar movie company lost a big lawsuit to this little video game company who just made crappy arcade machines in Japan only. And that was what would become Donkey Kong. They won the rights to the name Donkey Kong, and then they used that money because they won $120 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Nintendo was like, I believe it was $30 million at the time, the equivalent of 120.
Thanks for listening to The Shot Pod.
To hear full episodes, you can find us on Spotify,
Apple Podcasts,
Google,
iHeartRadio,
and much more.
Please ball kick subscribe.
Abuse that little bell to be notified of new content.
We'll have a lot more coming.
And it's always fun.